Well, greetings, one and all, and welcome once again to Tom's Hit Parade Live. Yes, tonight we are officially kicking off the post-Skips era of Bargain Bag. First Bargain Bag video of 2022, and the first one with the Bargain Bag. Well, the first one, no, I guess not. Okay. The first one where I'll be opening just one bag from the new source of Bargain Bags. Last month I opened two. We'll be breaking down those in a few minutes, and going over all the usual bargain bags. Well, the new normal, as it were, of bargain bag. But before I get into that, I wanted to talk about the couple of noteworthy music passings that have happened in the last several days. One of them, you all know it's coming. It's in the subject line. But the first one I wanted to talk about is one that I missed when it first happened. I just heard about it last week, and coincidentally, I was able to pick up a record from this group. The first passing I wanted to talk about is Rosa Lee Hawkins of the 60s girl group, the Dixie Cups. They are most well known for their song Chapel of Love, which is off of this self-titled album, or the title track from this album. And their other big hit was also on the same album. It was Iko Iko, a pop rendition of what I believe is a classic Creole or Cajun folk song. And that became very popular. And the three girls that were in the Dixie Cups got co-writing credit on that song, which is something I didn't realize. But yes, I'm kind of fond of that classic girl group sound. I love the predecessor to that was the close harmony sound of like the Andrews Sisters and the Boswell Sisters from like the 30s and 40s. This was, of course, subsequent to that, leading into the Motown girl group stuff. Dixie Cups were not a Motown group, but similar vein, the updated 60s pop version of that stuff, 50s and 60s. This album was put out in 1964, and it was their biggest album. I think they put out one or two other albums after that, but yes, Rosa Lee Hawkins, and I forgot to note her age. Not that it really matters, but I'm sure she was in her 80s, I think, possibly 70s, but yeah. A loss to the music world, definitely. But of course, the bigger or the more noteworthy loss, the one that got more news coverage, actually just in the last day or so, was the loss of rock demigod Meat Loaf, born Marvin Lee Aday. And yes, what can we say about Meat Loaf? The theatricality, the larger-than-lifeness of him, those bombastic rock tunes that he came out with. Most of them were co-written by Jim Steinman, who passed away last year, coincidentally. But yes, I was looking through my discography, and I actually have half of Meat Loaf's discography. He put out 12 studio albums. I have 6 of them. I have, of course, Bat Out of Hell. I actually have all 3 entries in the Bat Out of Hell trilogy. I've got the deluxe 2-disc edition of Bat Out of Hell 2. This is probably my favorite Meat Loaf album. It's got, of course, I Do Anything for Love, his biggest hit song, and I think that one got him his only Grammy nomination and only Grammy win. So, and what were the other one? Rock and Roll Dreams Come Through, Life is a Lemon and I Want My Money Back. That's kind of an appropriate thing to say right now, isn't it? Anyway, the next album in sequence of his that I have is Welcome to the Neighborhood. Some good tunes on that as well, though this was not a Steinman collaboration. As well as Couldn't Have Said It Better. The title track is really, really fun on this. Couldn't have said it better myself. And Love You Out Loud is a pretty good one. And there was one other song on this one that I really enjoyed. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but good album. And then, of course, the third and final chapter in the Bat Out of Hell trilogy, The Monster is Loose. And although this one was actually, even though it was Bat Out of Hell trilogy, this had very little, if any, involvement from Jim Steinman. Maybe a couple of songs were written by him. But this one has covers of a couple songs that were made popular by other artists. It's called It's All Coming Back to Me Now, which was, I'm pretty sure Celine Dion made that one popular. Maybe somebody before her. But and what was the other one? Okay, I could have sworn there was another cover, or maybe that was on another album. But he does a duet with Jennifer Hudson, For those of you American Idol enthusiasts, may not know that Jennifer Hudson appeared on Bad Out of Hell 3. And then his latest album that I have, and is actually probably my second favorite, second to Bad Out of Hell 2, is Hell in a Handbasket. And some people didn't like this album. I really kind of liked it. It's got several guest stars, kind of like the Bad Out of Hell 3 did. Chuck D from Public Enemy, Patty Russo appears on a couple of songs. Then we have all guest starring on one song, Trace Adkins, country star, Mark McGrath of Sugar Ray, and Lil Jon. So he pulled in the guest stars for this album, and this was what I thought his last good album. I actually tried to pick up his last album, his final one, whose name escapes me right now, and I tried to get into it, and I just did not care much for it. It was missing something. His voice, for some reason, was just not what it was on even as recently as Hell in a Handbasket. So, but what can you say? You can't deny that Meat Loaf left us with a pretty darn good collection of songs. Some of the most signature songs in rock and roll history. What was it? I'd do anything for love, but I won't do that. One of the best rock and roll songs of all time. One of the best pop songs of all time. Some of the best songs have lyrics or titles that are unanswered questions. I'd do anything for love, but I won't do that. What exactly is that? What won't you do for love? Kind of like along the same lines of thinking, the Backstreet Boys. I want it that way. What way do you want it? Well, I need more info. Of course, to make a really good song, maybe you don't need more info. The mystery is part of the allure of the song, wouldn't you say? Anyway, yes, Meat Loaf, Godspeed Meat Loaf, and Godspeed Rosa Lee Hawkins. We will miss you dearly. So now, that's already over with. I thought I was going to expound more on Meat Loaf, but I couldn't. I kind of wanted to fix Meat Loaf for dinner tonight in Meat Loaf's honor, but didn't happen. Oh well. We can't have everything, can we? Anyway, so yes, on to the main event of tonight, Bargain Bag. Excuse me, rearranging the CDs here. So yes, a Bargain Bag. It used to be I would open 2 bags per month in videos, but this will be the first month. Going forward, I will only be opening 1 bag. But before I open the bag to show and discover live what's in the bag, I kind of know what's in the bags, but I really don't. Back last, I believe it was last August, Epic Seconds, which is the store that is basically responsible for these bags. Epic Seconds is a used CD, DVD, and game store in downtown Eugene, and they have a $1 CD wall, and they had a special back in August, 4 for $1. So I decided I was kind of looking for a way to keep Bargain Bag going, and I decided, okay, that's my chance, is to get CDs for 25 freaking cents a piece. And so I just loaded down bags with those CDs, enough to fill 24 bags with 8, actually a little bit more than 24 bags with 8 CDs each. So, but I assembled all the bags all at once. I did it myself, yes, but I assembled them all at once. So I don't know what's in each bag, and I honestly, frankly, barely remember 10% of what was in those bags, honestly. So for all intents and purposes, these are still mystery CD grab bags to me, even though I actually assembled them. So that's what I was getting at. Anyway, finished with the long drawn-out introduction. Before I actually open the bag, I break down in rough order from cast-offs to keepers what was in the last bag, or in this case, bags, 2 bags. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, we have the Marcus Roberts Trio. This was jazz, and it was very, very improv-y and, free-form kind of jazz. Those of you who have been watching me long enough know that kind of jazz is not really my thing. Just don't really care for it. I need, for some reason, I need more solid song structures. Maybe I'm pedestrian that way in my musical tastes. I don't know. But anyway. Then we have Big Head Todd and the Monsters. I had heard of these guys before, obviously, but had never checked them out. And they're kind of what I like to call barroom rock, which is kind of not quite heartland rock, just a little more bluesy than heartland rock kind of thing, you know. So not bad, just not really anything that really kept my interest at all. And then we have a group called Soul Live, which, as you can kind of glean by its name, it is soul-based music, and this is a live recording. I'm not sure if they put out, I forgot to look to see if they put out any more albums than this one. They're self-titled. Not bad. They're very good at what they do. Just, you know, I didn't really find any tunes on here to really capture my interest. It was soul, but with a little tiny bit of blues and R&B into it. Not bad stuff. Then we have a couple of country songstresses. We have Leanne Rimes with, this is a compilation album, You Light Up My Life, Inspirational Songs. Pretty good selection of songs here. It has the title track, which was it Debbie Boone who originally did that one, I think? The Rose, which was originally done by Bette Midler. And Bridge Over Troubled Waters, Simon and Garfunkel, of course. And a few gospel songs or spiritual songs. 10,000 Angels Cried. And then we have On the Side of Angels. Lots of angels on this album. And then within a couple of patriotic songs. I don't know if that's, well, depending on who you are, it could be inspirational to have patriotic songs. God Bless America and the National Anthem were both on this album, as well as Amazing Grace. Very beautiful song indeed. And the songs, when sung by Leanne Rimes, are all wonderful. She does have a fantastic voice. It's just, I won't be keeping it. It's, as I said, not quite enough to hold my interest. The othery country person, the other country, female country star on here is Shania Twain with her album. I think this was her most successful album, The Woman in Me. Not bad. In fact, I might actually keep this one and listen to it once more, maybe. Any Man of Mine was a big hit for her. Any Man of Mine better walk the line. And that's all there is to it. You go, girl. Anyway. And then we're into R&B. Actually, the genres kind of skip around here. I don't have them in genre order. Brian McKnight. This is I Remember You. I believe this was his sophomore album, if I remember my research correctly. Not bad. It's just, you know, he has a very good voice. It's just, you know, kind of, it was almost paint by numbers R&B. Apologies to any Brian McKnight fans out there. It's just, that's kind of the way it struck me. Was I have heard lots of worse R&B, but I've heard better R&B too. Better, in my opinion. Better is a subjective term, I will admit. And then we have another kind of a rock / soul sort of group that I have heard before. We have Ben Harper and the Innocent Criminals. This is their third album, I believe, Burn to Shine. Not bad stuff. I probably will be investigating these guys a little bit more. It intrigued me enough to want to listen to more of their albums. So, okay, it might be a keeper as well. I guess I kind of have these, now that I'm talking through my thoughts, I think I might have these a little bit out of order in terms of cast-offs to keepers. And then we have, this one is definitely going to be a cast-off, sorry to say, Lee Oscar. He is a harmonica player, and this is jazz / blues kind of stuff. A little bit of folk in there too. Yeah, not bad stuff. Of course, I love Stevie Wonder and John Popper of Blues Traveler and some harmonica players. You know, not all harmonica players, obviously. Yeah, Lee Oscar, okay, just not quite up there. And then we're starting to get move towards the keepers. Something that I kind of suspected, because these bags are going to be filled with more well-known artists, is that I will probably have a higher percentage of keepers in the bargain bags going forward. So I'm probably going to keep close to half of these titles. Here we have CeCe Peniston, another R&B singer from the 90s. Yes, 1993. And this is not the album that has her big hit song Finally on it, but this is pretty darn good stuff anyway. I am on the lookout for that album. I think that album was called Finally, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I think I'm going to keep this one at least for a little while and give it a couple more spins. She has a great a great voice and great energy in her songs. Very good stuff. And then we have an artist. I have 2 albums by this artist, but in other modes. She actually tried. Jeff, how's it going? I've been meaning to send you an email because I haven't heard from you forever. How's it going? Glad you could join us. Anyway, this artist, I have a couple of albums from her, but in a different lane. She took a detour into Great American Songbook and R&B soul music, but her the genre that she became famous with was hip hop. Queen Latifah. This is the first hip hop album of hers that I've listened to. Not bad at all. I'm going to it's going to stick around for a little while, and I'm going to see if it grows on me at all. And then we have a couple of ladies. These next 2 ladies I had never heard of before, and they produced good results because they are kind of high up there on the list. They're in the keepers area. First, we have Carrie Rodriguez, and she is kind of a rock R&B singer, kind of. I want to say a female Lenny Kravitz, but not quite as hard rock. A bit more of a mellow rock kind of a sound, but she's very good at what she does. Good stuff. Yeah. I cannot remember off the top of my head any songs that really jumped out at me. But yeah, very good stuff. I would recommend checking out Carrie Rodriguez if you have not heard her. And then another one that is Rachel Z. And this is a mostly instrumental album, which kind of surprised me. I, for some reason, expected it to be a vocal album. Just a vague presumption on my part. But very good stuff. It has a song on here called Bodhisattva, but it is not a cover of the Steely Dan song. I found out in the liner notes. It's kind of like, no wonder I didn't recognize the tune when it came on. If it were a cover of the Steely Dan song, I would have recognized it. But she does a cover of Alanis Morissette's Head Over Feet, which is pretty good. So, yeah, and there are 1 or 2 songs on here that have vocals. The rest of the songs are instrumental. Very good stuff. R&B pop with a little bit of jazz in it. So, yeah. And then we're coming up on a couple of names that will be very familiar with you guys. First, we have Anita Baker, one of the great and underappreciated, I think, soul and R&B singers of the 80s and 90s. Just wonderful. This was one of her 2 big hit albums, Giving You the Best That I Got. The title track is fantastic. And there's also Just Because, which is another excellent song of hers. Wonderful, wonderful singer. She's just got a great, a bit of a lower register that she sings in, but yeah, just a wonderful, wonderful voice. If you have not checked out Anita Baker, and especially if you like 80s and 90s pop, soul, Aretha Franklin, and those kind of R&B divas, check out Anita Baker. She's not to be missed. And then we have Jennifer Lopez, her album J-Lo. And this is the first one of hers that I have listened to a full album of, and I actually rather kind of like it. For some reason, I was expecting it to be very underwhelming. It's hard for me to get into the pop R&B and Latin pop divas, the Christina Aguilera's, the Britney Spears, all those other ones. They kind of blend together after a while, and I've made it no secret on my channel that at least up until recently, the last couple of years, it's been much harder for me to get into female artists than male artists. Not sure why. Well, part of the reason is because male artists, in my opinion, male vocalists, that is, have a much broader range in their sound. Female artists tend to, at least to my ears, many of them sound a lot closer together in their sound. There are the exceptions, of course, obviously. Bonnie Raitt and Gloria Estefan, Amy Grant are 3 of my favorite female pop singers. But yeah, J-Lo was kind of a pleasant surprise to me. So, yeah. And then here is probably the biggest surprise. I was not expecting much out of this album. I was expecting it to be a complete snooze fest. And this is my second favorite album in this lot. So, yes, and you guys might scratch your head or roll your eyes, but here we go. Andreas Vollenreiter. He is kind of he is a new age instrumental jazz kind of a guy, and his instrument of choice is the harp. And yes, again, some of you out there are going to be rolling your eyes, but it is not solo harp all by itself. That would drive me bonkers and make me bored to tears. But he is backed with much more other instruments. And is he backed with an orchestra? Possibly. I can't remember for sure, but good stuff on this album. I've kind of, when I got that binder lot of CDs a few months ago, it had a lot of new age stuff that I remember from, you know, back in my 20s that I kind of went through a new age phase back then. So that has kind of reignited a new age interest, a much milder, to a much milder degree now than it was back then, interest in new age music. And so Andreas Vollenweider is my latest discovery in that realm. And then the winner, chicken dinner of the bargain bags from last month is Velvet Revolver. Go figure, huh? I just, you know, a few years back, this would not have floated my boat. But yes, for those of you who may or who may not know, Velvet Revolver is a supergroup essentially, and is basically Guns N' Roses without Axl Rose, but with the late Stone Temple Pilots vocalist Scott Weiland in his place. That being said, the music is much more Guns N' Roses than it is STP, much more in the hard rock, not quite hair metal. It's you know, a little, how do I say, a little more rock than hair metal. You know, hair metal is kind of anthemic arena kind of stuff, but this is much more concentrated on the muscly guitar riffs and stuff rather than the bombastic stuff that hair metal is fond of. But anyway, yes, very good stuff, and a couple of kind of like with, if you know Guns N' Roses, they had a few killer riffs in some of their songs, great guitar hooks, and on this album, Slither probably wins the award in that department. But yes, plenty of great upbeat songs, you know, high energy rock songs, and a couple of really good ballads here. You Got No Right is an excellent ballad, and so is the closing track, Love the Alien. I wonder if they stole that from, what's his name? Satriani. I can't remember. But anyway, and the song Big Machine, which is where, what's his name, got the name for the Big Machine Records label. You know, the guy that basically stole or bought Taylor Swift's catalog and sold it out from under her, and, you know, that stuff. That jerk. Anyway, very good stuff, and I'm going to seek out their other album. They only made 2 albums before, they only had a chance to make 2 albums before Scott Weiland passed away, unfortunately, a few years back. But yeah, very good stuff. Wouldn't have been my kind of thing as recently as 5 years ago. But yeah, it wins the award for bargain bag for the bags that I opened in December. So take a drink of water real quick here. And now let's go ahead and get started. Reach for the scissors because I didn't think to do that before I turned on the camera. Okay, let's open up the new bag. Yeah, just one bag. That's the one thing about the bargain bag videos, is they may actually be shorter on average. So, you know, so I don't know if I will just be doing shorter videos or if I need to find something to accompany bargain bag in those videos. So I'll think about it. But anyway, the bag is opened, and as you can see, they are sitting on their sides, so I cannot peekaboo IC CDs to you. So you're going to find out what they are when I do. So disc number 1 is Duncan Shake. Yes, and this is his self-titled album. Yes, he is a singer-songwriter, pop artist. I don't know, kind of like a precursor to James Blake, maybe. Although James Blake is much more, has more electronica. Duncan Shake is just basically strictly pop rock stuff. So, looking forward to checking him out. I haven't really checked him out seriously yet. And we have Katie Oslin, and she actually, I think, passed away just last year, didn't she? This is her album, 80s Ladies. So I'm interested. Yeah. When I was looking at these CDs on the rack, the title of this one, 80s Ladies, interested me, made me curious. So unfortunately, there's a nice big, don't know if you can see a water stain on the back of this. So hey, when you're paying 25 cents for these CDs, how can you expect pristine quality, right? And now the third one in this bag is Joey Alexander, My Favorite Things. I have never heard of this guy before, so that's one reason why I decided to pick it up and give it a try. Sometimes I pay attention to what the album cover looks like, see if that intrigues me, and that's probably one thing that made me think of this. And also, I guess you can kind of, I don't know if he did this on purpose, but the arrangement of black and white on the cover of in the cover art kind of recalls or brings to mind a piano keys. So I wonder if that he did that on purpose or it was just a coincidence. Disc number 4 in this bag is Movie Love, the Ultimate Movie Soundtrack Collection. Oh yes, we have I've Had the Time of My Life from Dirty Dancing, A Whole New World from Aladdin, Take My Breath Away from Top Gun. You get the idea. So yeah. I decided, what the heck, throw some unusual things into these bargain bags. Why not? The next CD we have here is Aaron Tippin, a country artist. What can you say? He's a country artist I've heard of. And there you go. I don't know anything else about him. So I figured, why not give him a try? I've gotten, that's something else other aside from the harder rock stuff like Revolver. Something else that I've gotten a bit into in recent years is country music. So I figured, why not give more country artists a try? Then we have, Robbie Williams with The Ego Has Landed. It's Robbie Williams. I think I used to have this one a long time ago until I got his greatest hits collection. Former member of Take That, the British boy band from the 90s. And he's made himself an excellent solo career by himself. So yeah, lots of big hits from that guy. Next to last CD is Coco with her album Hot Coco. Yes. There were a few copies of this, or at least 2 copies of this on the shelves there at the Epic Seconds. So I figured, why not? Obviously, it's R&B, unless it might possibly be hip hop. But hey, worth a try, right? And then the last bag is 1, 2, 3 Soleils. And I picked this up. I wasn't sure what this was. Oh, this is international. Can't remember what nationality or what ethnicity this music is, even though the title suggests French. I don't think it's French. But this is a 2-disc set. So, yes. Taha, Khaled, and Faudel. So I'm guessing it's Middle Eastern kind of stuff. So this one was, as you can tell, it was very, very intriguing to me. I have very little Middle Eastern music in my collection. So I figured, if that's what this is, why not? And again, especially for 25 freaking cents. How can you go wrong? So anyway, yes, the latest collection of bargain bag CDs is here for me to enjoy. And yes, one reason I've decided to dial it down to 1 bag a month is so that I can try and make some headway in my embarrassingly huge listening backlog. I've made some progress because I've actually been working from home most of the week, starting middle of last week. We decided to, in the office, try to physically distance people, so we're kind of rotating people in and out of the office, and I'm one of the ones that's rotating more frequently than others because the others enjoy working at the office. I kind of like working from home because I don't have to wear actual clothes, and amongst other reasons. So yes, I've been. My point with all that rambling is I have had more time to catch up on my listening backlog. I can usually take care of 8 CDs a day, so if I'm not interrupted or anything. So yes, I sometimes do phone work, so I have to pause the music when I answer the phone and all that stuff. But yes, I am thankfully finally getting a little bit of progress on that. Hopefully, it's the one upside with the Omicron variant, or the Cron, as a friend of mine likes to call it, is that I'll be able to work from home for. They're thinking it may last about a month. So hopefully within that month, I'll get as much listing as I can done. So yes, more listing to devote to my regular listing backlog, and so I have to devote less time to the bargain bag. That was the sum total, the takeaway from all that crap that I was just saying. So yeah, that's one reason why I've dialed it down to one bag for my bargain bags every month. So anyway, it's only been a half an hour, but I honestly don't have much of anything else to talk about. So I think I will go ahead and sign off, except I don't have my sign off ready. You'd think I'd have it memorized by now, really. So yes, any questions from my my multitude of watchers? Hey, to me it's a running gag at this point that I have almost nobody. And like I said before, it is my own freaking fault because I suck at self-promotion. I gave you guys a whopping 2.5 hours notice of this video that I was going live tonight, and there it is. I knew I was going to find it eventually. So anyway, yeah. Yes, I will try and get better at self-promotion. Next weekend, I think I will be doing a playlist video because I have gotten plenty of listening done. It's probably going to be another CD special, so I won't have any records or cassettes to talk about next weekend, but plenty of CDs that I have been able to listen to over the last week and a half and the weeks to come. But anyway, that'll do it for Bargain Bag January 2021. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, hit that like button and share it with your friends. And give me your thoughts, questions, suggestions, or constructive criticisms in the comments section below. Also, scroll down to the description for the links to my Twitter and Instagram feeds and links to my favorite fellow YouTubers who are all worth checking out. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet and browse my past videos. And be sure to ring that notifications bell so you'll be the first to know each time I drop a new video or go live. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next weekend. And remember, life's too short to be a music snob. See ya.